we're going to stay focused on putting forward reasonable, responsible offers to try and make sure that we're both recognizing and continuing to recognize the extraordinary work done by public servants, federal public servants across this country, while at the same time being responsible about the taxpayer investments.
One of the largest strikes in Canadian history could start Wednesday if a deal isn't reached between the federal government and the Public Servants Alliance of Canada by tomorrow night. If there isn't a deal, over 150,000 members across the Treasury Board and the Canada Revenue Agency could be on strike. That could see service disruptions, including to tax season. Remember, of course, the deadline to file your taxes is a few weeks away. Passport applications, delays at borders and airports, and delays to immigration applications. Some of the key sticking points at the bargaining table include a 13.5% raise over 3 years. Today, a statement from the Treasury Board said it offered 9% over 3 years. Protections for remote work are also part of the negotiations. Power Play did invite both Treasury Board President Morna Forche and Labour Minister Seamus O'Regan on our program. We were told both are unavailable for interviews. With me this evening, however, is Public Service Alliance of Canada President Chris Aylward. Mr. Aylward, good to have you here. Thank you for making the time.
Thank you, Vassy.
Is it wages? Is that the sticking point right now?
That is the top priority. I mean, there's a couple of sticking points right now at the bargaining table. We continue to bargain over the weekend, and as we announced, this morning, we'll stay at this until 9 p.m. tomorrow night to try to reach a deal, because that's what our goal is. We do want to reach a tentative agreement. We do not want to go on strike.
Explain to me from your perspective, because sort of as a layman, I see 9% over 3 years. I see 13.5. It doesn't seem like a wide ocean in between the two. Why is that reason to strike?
Well, I mean, that's not the only reason. As I said, there's several top priority issues that are still not resolved, wages being one of them. Yes, the Treasury Board released today what they have on the table. We moved off our wage proposal as well, so there is some movement around the wages that are happening. But as I said, there's other key issues that need to get resolved as well. I
want to get to those issues in a second. I just want to ask one more thing on the wages, because my understanding is the offer that they've most recently put on the table is in line with what the Public Interest Commissioner, I believe it's the PIC, the sort of mediator, in layman's terms, came up with. That person listened to arguments from both sides and said, here's what's reasonable. Why is that not reasonable to public servants from your perspective?
We said at the time, as did Treasury Board, that is a path to a deal. That is a path forward to a deal. And we still, remain there today, that it's a path forward to a deal. And that's why, and we've said all along, that we want to make sure that we're in line, at least somewhat, with the rate of inflation, to make sure that workers are keeping up with the rate of inflation. Because in the current economic context, workers in this country need a fair and decent wage increase.
If, as the Bank of Canada predicts, the rate of inflation does go back down towards 3% by the end of this year, that 9% offer is in line with the rate of inflation, is it not?
No, our contract expired in June of 2021, so we're looking at 21, 22, and 23. So that 3-year period that we're in collective bargaining for, the inflation rate is 13.8%. So that's why we're asking for 13.5. So that's how we came to that figure. And as I said, for the same 3-year period, inflation is at 13.8.
So I think in 2022 it was somewhere around 3 and a bit %, right? And then I'm guessing, or 2021, pardon me, 2022, right. I'm guessing is the year that drove everything up, right?
That's
correct. Look, I know you're probably expecting this, but I think there's a lot of people who don't work in the public service who lost their jobs during the pandemic, who are struggling like no one can believe with inflation right now because their wages are not keeping up with the rate of inflation. They certainly are not able to get what you're asking for. Why are public servants, from your perspective, entitled to what the private sector has not been able to attain?
Public sector workers are no different than any other worker in this country. The vast majority of our members make between $40,000 and $65,000 a year. That's hardly a salary that can take another rollback, basically. And this government, when they repress wages of their own employees, they are in fact repressing wages for all workers across this country. And we're asking the government to come to the bargaining table with a wage that sets the bar for all workers in this country. Because every single worker in this country deserves a fair and decent wage increase. Workers are fed up. They're frustrated. Not just federal public sector members, private sector members, public sector, private sector, unionized, non-unionized workers in this country are fed up and frustrated. We sit back and we watch corporations making record profits, but nobody wants to pay working people. Everybody's just like, keep the wages down, keep the wages down. Just last week, the governor of the Bank of Canada made a statement that corporate pricing must be normalized. So in other words, what he's saying is that right now, corporate pricing is not normal. But yet, corporations continue to make, record profits. We're getting gouged at gas pumps and in grocery store aisles. Workers in this country deserve a fair and decent wage increase.
And respectfully, Mr. Aylward, though, the corporations you speak of are not the same as the federal government. I mean, the federal government is facing down now a $40 billion deficit. Do you have some sympathy for the and I'm not in any way trying to advocate for less money, but let's say, 9% over 3 years. Do you understand that positioning given the fiscal world that they're living in?
Right, we understand that. But workers can't keep falling further and further and further behind. Workers in this country are going into debt and making sacrifices just to make ends meet. And our members are no different. We know workers in this country are struggling, including public sector workers. And all workers in this country need a fair and decent wage increase. That's why we're asking the government to set that bar so that workers have some hope of a fair and decent wage increase.
I'm running out of time, but I want to ask you about the other bar that you're hoping to set, which I believe is around remote work. Is it fair to characterize that you'd like to see that enshrined in the collective agreement?
Yes, we would, because right now the hybrid work plan simply is not working. Federal workplaces right now are chaotic. Members are going into the workplace. They don't have desks. The booking system is not working all of the time. So we just want to make sure that we have language in our collective agreement that basically protects those rights and to make sure that everyone understands what the game rules are. And we're not asking that our members work from home 5 days a week. We're simply saying, if you, government, want a hybrid work plan policy, that's fine, but we need language in the collective agreement to make sure everyone understands how this is going to work, and to make sure that it's implied fairly and consistently, and if it's not, we have recourse rights.
And I think that's reasonable that people would like to be able to work when they go in, right, and have the equipment necessary. But I just want to be clear, you're not asking for that determination to be solely made by the employee, are you? Are you saying that the employee should be able to determine, I'm working at home 5 days a week, regardless of what the employer dictates?
No, absolutely not. We recognize it's the managerial responsibility and a managerial right to determine the place of work. We get that. That's already a clause in all of our public sector collective agreements, that nothing in that collective agreement can circumvent the managerial responsibilities. So again, I mean, if that's their concern, it shouldn't be a concern.
Do you think there's a chance you'll reach a deal by tomorrow night?
I'm hopeful. We are still talking. We will stay there as long as it takes to avoid a strike, because that's what we want to do. We want to reach an agreement. We do not want to go on strike, but our members are prepared to do that.
Mr. Aylward, thank you very much for making the time to come in tonight. I appreciate it. Chris Aylward.